Alright, welcome back to Ring of the Hawk. I'm your host, the 6-time gut-punching champion, the Burnham-on-Sea bad boy, take your lady and leave your sad boy, the one who always brings you joy, HAWK, all night, all day. Growing up, I always felt like Monty Brown was one of the biggest missed opportunities in wrestling. Between 2004 and 2006, this former NFL linebacker was always just on the cusp of being a TNA main eventer. Whilst he never quite managed to break through the Slapnuts glass ceiling in TNA, he is still fondly remembered for his off-the-wall promos, his power moves, and his insane character work.
Have you been studying, Scott? Your grasp of the obvious is amazing! D'Lo Brown, you and I are as different as night and day. You, the little itty-bitty kitty cat who sits in the house. The alpha male. Or let me change the vernacular. You, D'Lo, the alpha male. I am the supreme being. I don't care if it's Ken Shamrock. Lion's Den, there's only one lion in that den, and he's the alpha male. I wouldn't care if it's B. Jizzle. I wouldn't care about the truth. This is the truth. This is my hunting ground. It is not rabbit season. It's not duck season. It's open season. The most feared man on this hunting ground.
I'm not trying to knock current wrestling, but I think if Monty Brown is a wrestler in any promotion today, he is instantly the world champion. The alpha male eventually ran down his TNA contract and signed with the WWE in November 2006. This is the perfect video for Ring of the Hawk Season 6, so I'd just like to thank Big L Branco over on Patreon. If you want to make the Hawk talk, sign up today. Okay, it's WWE Monty Brown. Will it make the Hawk frown? I'm honestly just so excited to make this video. It's one of my favourite wrestlers of all time getting a decent amount of matches on a bigger stage. He is going to show the world what we were missing with Monty Brown. He's going to pounce John Cena off a stage and he's going to eliminate the Viper from his hunting grounds. And he's going to... Oh, he's only on ECW? And he's not Monty Brown, he's Marcus Cor. Well, that isn't ideal. But that also isn't the end of the world. Let's give him a chance. Match 1, Marcus Cor, who just kind of enters to jazz music without explanation, but he's still being called the alpha male from the Animal Kingdom. Randomly, he's taking on another former TNA wrestler, depressed Shane Douglas. He slowly beats up the jobber in the corner, and then lays in some crossfaces. Monty tries a suplex which doesn't work, and then he has another opportunity, but instead he puts his opponent on the apron. He looks a bit confused. He brings O'Reilly back to the ring and finally hits a butterfly suplex. Monty hits the pounce finisher, which is usually the finish, but instead he pulls some crazy faces as he rolls Cassidy O'Reilly into an armbar for a tap-out win. Weird ending. It's like he wanted to try and get a new move over when the pounce was already perfectly acceptable. At least he gets a promo after the match. He says ECW is his new territory. He ends on a sort of poem, and it sucks. It goes a bit like this. The hardest, regardless, is Marcus Cor. Yeah, no buys. They're just changing things which don't really need changing. They didn't give him that much to work with here, but his facial expressions were good. I guess it's a D. D. Match 2. Marcus Cor. God damn, this music sucks.
Just call me smooth, I'll make you move, watch me move.
He's taken on jobber Wes Adams. Well, at least it's not Wes Pisco, that would have me reaching for the diarrhea bag. Monty grabs the mic and asks the jobber why he isn't running scared of him. Monty then takes a cheap shot to start the match. Taz is really struggling with his name on commentary. He's making fun of it and just having a laugh. Monty boots the jobber's head off and hits some crossfaces. Now it's knees to the gut into a butterfly suplex. Monty finishes off the jobber with the pounce and the Russian leg sweep into an armbar. Monty tries to bring back some of his character from TNA, with him marking his territory on the ropes, but the camera cuts away. Not really much difference to the first match, it's a D. Match 3, Balls Mahoney versus the alpha male Marcus Cor. He's got new music now, it's still jazz music, it's slightly better, but it doesn't fit him. The alpha male has an easy start against a weakened Balls Mahoney. Balls does manage to turn it around and hits the Balls punch combo. Monty isn't sweating that though and spins him into a neckbreaker. Mr. McMahon is shown watching impressed. He's even more impressed when Cor hits the pounce and finishes off Balls Mahoney with a Cobra Clutch Slam. It's a D. After this, Vince McMahon would form a new faction called the New Breed, who would feud with the ECW originals who McMahon hated. Probably not good news for Marcus Cor, who's only just started establishing himself and he doesn't need to be bogged down in a faction. Match 4, tag match. Vampire Kevin Thorne will team up with Monty Brown to represent the New Breed. I don't see how these two characters fit together, but we'll see if it works. They take on the ECW originals Tommy Dreamer and the Sandman. The fight starts on the outside where Cor drops the Sandman on a barricade and whirls him into the steps. The alpha male isn't finished and he rushes the ring, hitting a pounce on Tommy Dreamer. Looks like he hits his head on the ropes in the process. After that crazy start to the match, it then turns into a normal tag match. Monty misses a short-arm clothesline, he gets a net breaker. Dawn has to take over. The Sandman eventually gets into this match. Cor tries to stop him with a cane shot, but he can't land it, and the Sandman hits a White Russian on him. Then Kevin Thorn just beats the Sandman with a cane to the jaw. One cane to the jaw beat the Sandman. Yes, this is what I was worried about. There was too much going on which caused a distraction from Brown's talent. It's an S. Match 5, tag match. The New Breed, Cor and Kevin Thorn, who don't get an entrance, and they take on ECW originals Dreamer and Rob Van Dam. Cor can't do anything to Tommy Dreamer except eating an inverted DDT. He also gets kicked in the inner thigh and he looks like a complete joke in this match. He literally has no other involvement and Kevin Thorn beats RVD with a dark kiss. It's an S. Match 6, Extreme Battle Royal, the New Breed versus the ECW originals. Well, for a man of Monty Brown's strength, he should fare okay in this environment. He tries for ages to eliminate Sabu, but RVD comes to his rescue. RVD then carries his friend into a battering ram kick on Cor and he is just about eliminated, no matter how little he wanted to go over the top rope. Question: why was the alpha male the second man eliminated from this match? With every week that goes by, he looks less and less effective. Another S. Match 7, tag match. RVD and Sabu take on the Dream Team once again of Kevin Thorn and Marcus Cor. As usual, it's mostly about Kevin Thorn, not sure why. Monty does get an eventually of Rob Van Dam, giving him a couple of backbreakers for a 2. He loses his team's advantage against RVD when he's kicked in the head and Sabu is tagged. Sabu springs off the ropes to hit a smack followed by a leg drop. These two actually had a pretty great feud in TNA. Sabu even trained Monty Brown. You wouldn't know it here though. Sabu hits a DDT now with Kevin Thorn having to make the save. RVD then hits the step over windmill kick to Cor as the match breaks down. Thorn ends up causing a distraction and Cor hits a pretty devastating pounce. They call it a crossbody, which doesn't quite have the same ring to it, does it? This just isn't working. He doesn't look anywhere near the same competitor as he did in TNA. He should be on his own. It's a D. Match 8, WrestleMania 23, 8-man tag, the ECW originals versus the New Breed. Cor does try to do some stuff in this match, hitting Dreamer with a butterfly suplex and a back body drop. The dominance over Dreamer doesn't last, the Dreamer hits an inverted DDT neckbreaker combination. Soon after, Monty has to try and catch a crazy Sabu dive out of the ring, and then RVD just wins with a frog splash. Really not much to say, it's a D. Match 9, Raw, the vacant WWE tag titles are up for grabs in a 10-team battle royal. Cor is of course teaming with his favourite vampire in the world, Kevin Thorn. Well, as it turns out, this was a pointless match to watch. The Dream Team do nothing and get eliminated during an advert break. They're hardly even mentioned or acknowledged, a complete waste of time, it's an S. Match 10, Extreme Rules 8-man tag, the New Breed. Can't get over how silly they look stood next to each other, they look completely different people. It's like that Family Guy gag, who can we put next to each other who we don't normally see together? These guys just don't fit. They take on the ECW originals. The match breaks down pretty quickly and it's not going well for the New Breed. The originals hit dives out of the ring. Man, the New Breed need a win here. Monty does manage to drop toe-hold Dreamer into a chair. It doesn't help and the ECW originals start teaming up on him. Sabu tries a corner chair dive on Monty, who finally does something and he catches him and hits him with a powerbomb. That's the Cor I was waiting to see. He isn't done either and he hits Dreamer with a back suplex into a chair. The Sandman tries to stop anything else from happening with a cane, but moments later he gets pounced. I just love thinking, I bet the Sandman had absolutely no idea what was going on in this moment and suddenly it was like he was hit by a freight train. This match is actually really good and crazy. Elijah Burke gets the win with the Elijah Express on Sabu for a table. Bit more like it, but it's still way too much going on to focus on Cor. It's a C. Well, little hawk, ask and you shall receive. ECW main event, match 11, Rob Van Dam versus Marcus Cor. Alright, two of the Hawk's all-time favourites, this is gonna be great. RVD fires some early warning shots but doesn't actually land any of them. We do get a nice move pretty early on with Cor blocking a monkey flip and trying a powerbomb, but Rob Van Dam turns that into a hurricanrana. Cor is straight back up, knocking his block off, and again with his boot this time. Cor keeps going for straightjacket neckbreaker. Rob comes back to the match with a nice body scissors roll up for a 2 count. Cor once again shuts him straight back down for back suplex. Rob just can't land anything, this isn't working for him. He's caught again and gets a released German suplex for a 2. The match slows down for quite a while with Cor trying multiple submissions, none of them get the JOB done though. Rob finally makes a comeback, throwing kicks as Monty fills his nappy of bricks. Rob hits a springboard thrust kick. He He then hits a slightly clunky looking double leg into a corkscrew leg drop. Looked like some miscommunication to me there. RVD hits a flying thrust kick as Sabu and Elijah Burke start fighting on the outside. Elijah hits a DDT on Sabu which causes Rob to chase him. Cor Von takes advantage of that and hits the pounce, period, for the 3. I guess he isn't no job Rob after all. Big win for Marcus Cor. Even bigger when CM Punk joins the New Breed after the match. It's a B from the Hawk. Match 12, Kevin Thorne and Marcus Cor take on the Sandman and Dreamer. Feels like I'm getting deja vu. Monty does start this time, so perhaps the tide is turning. Dreamer drop toe holds him and takes him over to the Sandman. They hit double back elbows and elbow drops. The Sandman then heads to the top, but Monty blocks the Hurricanrana and smacks the Sandman. Cor tags out, not a good start. To his credit, he comes back later with a butterfly suplex on the Sandman. He can't manage anything else as Dreamer drop kicks him off the apron and Tommy beats Kevin Thorne with a roll up. An S, move along, nothing to see here, very inconsistent. Match 13, 6-man elimination tag. RVD, the Sandman and Dreamer versus the New Breed, who have CM Punk on their team, so that should increase their chances of winning. Actually, scratch that. Burke is an idiot and tells Punk that he isn't part of the match. What a moron. Or perhaps not, because he eliminates the Sandman pretty quickly. Van Dam gets rid of Striker and he's jumped by the Alpha Male for his first involvement. He hits a snap suplex for a 1 count. Van Dam responds with a kick and dives on him with a crossbody, just a 2. Sabu has the tag. He drop toe holds Monty and hits a leg drop. Not a lot to say so far. Now Monty hits a net breaker on Sabu who's wearing a net brace. That should be a 3, but it's not. Sabu's still in this fight and he hits a springboard leg drop for a 2. Monty tries to get something else going but can't, and all he hits is a back elbow. Finally, Cor hits the pounce and Sabu has been eliminated. Dreamer immediately starts boxing Cor. Marcus stops him with a snap overhead belly to belly. Dreamer tries to hide on the outside where Cor follows him and drops him on his nutsack. Wow, the ref then disqualifies him. That could possibly be the weakest DQ of all time. This is supposed to be ECW, is it not? This was okay, it's a D. Match 14, tag match. Matt Striker and Marcus Cor take on the Major Brothers. These two jobbers are never going anywhere, Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. They aren't up to Matt Striker's level. Cor gets the tag in against Ryder, but he's stopped from even entering the ring. Monty is pissed off and drags him out of the ring and sends him into the apron. Cor then gets him into the ring and hits a gorilla press into a sack of shit. Marcus misses his follow-up dive into the corner and tags are made. Kurt Hawkins ends up beating Matt Striker with a crossbody. It's an S. Barely did a thing in this match. Why is this so damn inconsistent? Match 15, CM Punk, who is no longer in the New Breed, takes on Marcus Cor. Some pretty low-key big matches in this run. It's clear who the crowd want, and it ain't Monty Brown. Punk gets us rolling with kicks, and Monty Brown has to dump in his nappy and bail from the ring. Monty takes back over on the outside. He picks Punk up and shunts him into the ring pole. We come back to the ring with Cor unleashing a gut attack on Punk. He locks on a bear hug, which doesn't last long before he pushes Punk back into the corner. He hits punches and shoulders to the lower back. Brown then gets a 2 off a backbreaker. Punk is screaming and crying with pain. Back to the bear hug we go. This time Punk punches his way out of the hold, but it doesn't help and Cor gives him a belly to belly for a 2. CM Punk finally starts landing some kicks and knees in the corner. He hits a bulldog for a double down, and then a net breaker for another double down. Cor slows Punk down by throwing him from the ring, and surprisingly, Elijah Burke doesn't get involved. Punk then sends Cor away and springboards into the ring with a clothesline. Burke almost has a heart attack, but the pin is not enough to finish him. Then, to his credit, Brown manages to reverse a top rope DDT as he throws Punk out of the ring. Now Burke gets involved with a kick to the ribs. Interestingly, CM Punk hates this Elijah Burke guy and called him the worst wrestler he has ever faced. Punk is almost counted out, but just about makes it back. He needn't have bothered though, because all that's waiting for him is the pounce, period, and that's the 3. Wow, first RVD and now CM Punk. Who's next? It was a much slower match than I anticipated, and there wasn't much in the way of moves, but it was a big win and he didn't look out of place. It's a C. Match 16, 3-on-1 handicap match. The New Breed take on Bobby Lashley. Can he possibly have another huge name to the list of guys he's already beaten? Here we go then. Cor is second in. Monty possibly looks intimidated. They have quite a long stare down and try to turn this into a big deal. Lashley has the slight height advantage here, but Monty has the charisma advantage. It doesn't help though, and Lashley leapfrogs him and smashes him to the mat. More on, Matt Striker makes a blind tag. After a bit, the match breaks down and Cor jumps Lashley. He hits him with a pounce, but unfortunately Lashley falls out of the ring. A bit later on, they face off again with Brown hitting a back suplex for a 2. He also assists the Pope with a diving fist drop. Bobby Lashley doesn't play for much longer and he takes out the Pope and Monty Brown and he beats up Matt Striker for a while. Lashley then beats Striker with the spear. I knew it was too good to be true. What I will say is Cor Von was very, very well protected here, made to look like a big deal squaring up to Bobby Lashley. It's a C. Match 17, tag match. Rob Van Dam teams up with CM Punk to take on Cor Von and Elijah Burke. Monty and RVD to start. Bit of a scruffy looking moment where Brown has to quickly throw himself to the mat in order for RVD to split leg moonsault him. Cor Von just carries him into the corner and tags out. He's definitely more competent than his partner, but nothing is really changing. It doesn't help that this match is so boring, which is surprising considering the competitors involved. They just work on Rob's legs forever. They're pretty much screwed when Punk gets the tag though. Van Dam joins back in and hits a kick to knock Monty out of the ring, but he can't land his dive. Monty stops a go-to-sleep attempt with his shoulder, and there's the pounce. But the ref is once again a dick and he DQs Monty Brown again. Monty really needs to learn how to follow the damn rules. Monty hits another pounce and it ends. Certainly feels like they won, but they didn't. I don't know, a C. There was good and there was bad to this segment. Match 18, One Night Stand 2007, 6-man table tag. The Sandman, Dreamer and CM Punk take on the New Breed. I was a bit worried going into this one, but Cor Von does get highlighted pretty decently. He hits a butterfly suplex to Dreamer and a powerbomb to Punk. He can't put Punk through a table though, and Sandman mashes him off the top rope with a kendo stick. The ECW Originals win again with a superplex to Striker on top of Elijah Burke. As usual, Cor Von was protected, but man, it feels like the New Breed lose any important matches. It's a D. Match 19, tag match. Elijah Burke and Marcus Cor, who don't get an entrance, take on the Major Brothers, who do get an entrance. Not a good match, by the way. The crowd spend large parts of the match chanting boring. I don't think it helps that Monty never does anything exciting anymore other than the pounce. I do like his aggression when he's applying a gut-wrench grip, but it's really a case of not much to say at this point. The buzz has definitely died. Whatever, Monty Brown beats the Major Brothers with the pounce. It's an S. Match 20, Raw, Battle Royal, Team SmackDown versus Team ECW, and you've got to love how people who are feuding are just randomly teamed up in this match, versus Team Raw. This match is somehow both good and bad. Most of the ECW guys are thrown out pretty quickly, but Cor Von isn't. He's actually the last remaining ECW guy in there. Or maybe not for long as Viscera slams him. He manages to avoid Randy Orton eliminating him, but it's over after he misses a pounce on Matt Hardy and he flies out of the ring. Couldn't we given him one elimination? It doesn't really do that much for someone just to survive in a match. They have to eliminate someone to be memorable. It's a D. Match 21, tag match. Chris Benoit. He actually only had one more televised match after this one. He teams up with CM Punk to take on the New Breed. Punk and Cor Von to start. Punk arm drags him and they stare intently into each other's eyes. Monty gives him a beat down and tags out. Brown does get to fight Benoit, but it doesn't look great. It feels more like an out-of-control brawl in the street. Benoit seems to be rocked, but instead he comes back with his own strikes and tags Punk, who flies into the ring with a clothesline. CM Punk hits a knee in the corner and a spinning heel kick. The New Breed are getting destroyed here. After not doing anything for ages, Brown manages a powerbomb on Punk out the corner and a catapult back into it. Punk tries to reverse his suplex into a small package, but the ref complains that his shoulders aren't actually down. Monty tags out, but first he hits a front slam. Oh no. The ref has DQ'd him once again. Everybody is confused and asking what happened and what caused the DQ. The crowd are loudly booing. It's an S. Match 22, final match. ECW World Title Tournament. The Alpha Male Marcus Cor versus CM Punk. To be honest, these two have not had very good chemistry so far, so hopefully they can turn it on in their final match. Punk starts out with a crossbody and multiple arm drags. He throws kicks, but can't manage a backslide as Cor wakes up and hits a flying armbar. He's zoned in on Punk's arm and throws him into the ring pole. Punk tries to fight back with a crossbody, which is caught, and he's thrown with a sack of shit for a 2 count. Punk somehow has more in the tank and he hits a flying clothesline and a spinning heel kick. Big knee in the corner from Punk, and the Bulldog is successful too. Oh, wow. Punk then dives into the ring, Alpha Male tries to catch him and slam him, but they botch it. Look pretty brutal, just a 2 count. Both guys look a bit worse for wear as Brown throws him with a butterfly suplex. Then Monty just misses an attack in the corner and CM Punk wins with the go to sleep. A D, just not as good as you would have hoped for. Mind you, thinking about it, Monty Brown was extremely well protected. I think this was his only pinfall loss on the ECW brand. The Hawk might be wrong, but that's how it felt. Game over. Monty asked for several months off from the WWE before eventually getting released. It turns out that his sister had passed away and Brown was a true alpha male because he retired from wrestling to look after her kids. What a truly unselfish act. You don't hear stuff like that very often nowadays. And he would never really return to wrestling. Seemingly has a very lucrative personal training business, so when TNA tried to induct him into their Hall of Fame a few years back, they couldn't even get hold of him. This run was not as good as I'd hoped for, or as bad as it could have been. It wasn't brilliant, but it was perhaps slightly offensive. Looking at it, there was just no effort to make him be the same Monty Brown that they had in TNA. Gone were the charming, hilarious promos. Most of his character was taken away and just replaced with a man who pulled weird faces to jazz music. The music wasn't bad, by the way, it just didn't fit him. And it's yet another example of how a faction isn't right for everybody. Some guys need a faction and others don't. Monty Brown did not need one. He has far too much talent and should have been able to stand on his own. So don't moan, don't groan, I'll make this as quick as a brick to the dick. Marcus Cor in the WWE gets a low C. This should have been way better, but it wasn't worth bird turd. $5 an ounce, and if you don't agree with that, I'll hit you with the pounce.